right, first of all, hi everybody. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us today. I absolutely loved this horror short. Katie, I understand that you wrote this, and I was just curious as to how you came up with the concept, because I know we've all been in these kind of spats with siblings or friends or whomever, family, but I love the take on what if the people involved in those spats had like magical powers. It was so funny.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank
So
you.
well written. Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that. I've always been fascinated with witches, and I thought it would be really interesting to see like what a dating life of a witch looked like. But especially during like 1692 Salem witch trials, it's just like a weird time. You always see like which is in a heightened way, they're
Mhm.
the purveyor of evils, right? But just like the ins and outs of everyday life, and also just trying to break away from who she is, and just not really being into being a witch anymore, is super funny to me. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Because it started out with, this trope of witches and the, kind of the Macbeth witches. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I don't feel that you're present. And just thought that was hilarious. So now, how did you guys get involved with the Etheria / horror collective in general? Like, how did you submit this short?
We had made witches just for our own kind of
Mhm.
purposes, and then we submitted to Etheria Film Night years ago,
Okay.
and then I think Heidi Honeycutt kind of kept it in her back pocket for future potential projects.
Okay. Nice. And I love it. Have you always been into horror? Is that something that you're interested in particular?
For me personally, no, I think I liked this because of the turn into comedy.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it was more comedic than it was horror, but I love the overall tone of it. Now, you guys said you worked together before. Were you all collaborators on the project, or was somebody brought in?
We all have like a common base of the Improv Olympic in LA, and we had worked together. At least every single one of us had known at least one other person, right, in the group,
Yes.
or had some working experience with them. And then, yeah, I guess we all did kind of collaborate in a sense.
Mhm.
Yeah. So.
Also, I have to ask, the dog at the end, is that somebody's actual dog?
Yes, Ace. Yeah, I think he passed away a couple years
Yeah, I think
ago.
Ace did pass
Oh,
away
no.
just a few
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah, he was an awesome dog. Oh, yeah, he was a
Yeah.
friend of ours. Yeah.
Oh, sorry for asking that. Now I feel bad.
No,
Ruined my
no.
day.
We've all made our peace with it. It's fine.
Yeah.
Also, as a woman, submitting something to a horror series, so to speak, I mean, it's such a cliche that men are more of the horror directors / fans, and women are typically like the victims, etc. Like, I know I've been a horror fan for a long time, and when I used to tell people I was a giant horror fan, it was kind of a taboo thing. How do you think that has changed now in these times, being a woman who writes horror, directs horror?
Michelle, did you put a
I think I just did a horror comedy short just a week ago that I just shot, and I think that that's part of a series that I believe many of the women or many of the directors are women in that series. So I think that as opportunities for women open up in general, they open up in some of the genres that are less typically represented by females. So
Right.
it's exciting to see, because I think that women do have a different perspective.
Yes, and I also think it makes sense for a woman to, because you have to be very vulnerable in a horror film, otherwise it just doesn't come off. And I think women are typically more in touch with their emotions, so it would make sense that they could convey something on like a deeper tone, in my opinion.
No.
You're like, no.
No, absolutely agreed. Also, I loved the Halloween tone of the movie. Like, it just right now, it's that season. So when I watched it a couple days ago, it gave me those feels. I mean, was that intentional at all? Like, was it supposed to be spooky Halloween or just generic, like you said, witches?
I think we were thinking of them as like the real sort of Salem witches, which have now been sort of co-opted on Halloween. I actually went to Salem a few years ago on Halloween and did like a witch tour.
Nice.
And I didn't realize, Katie, when we shot this, that Giles Corey was one of the
Oh yeah.
it was the man who was executed for being a witch. And I think that it gave me an extra kind of insight into the ending, where she's saying that she has this date with Giles Corey, and the idea is that she ends up getting him killed because she pulls him into the whole witch scandal.
Yeah, really sad. I think it's funny because in real life, when he was accused of being a witch, he was like an 80-something-year-old man. So I had always pictured him like being sort of my age, but the thought that like I would be dating like an 80-year-old was like, I'm gonna leave my witch life for this hot piece of meat, octogenarian.
I like it too, if the thought that maybe you guys are all immortal, like all three of the witches are immortal, and the edges are wearing off a little bit, and like kind of a death becomes her way. And so this is who you're attracted to, because you've kind of been around the block a few times.
Right. Like 87 is not that old for Tamsin. Yeah.
Yeah. Just you need a much more mature man. At this point what you want.
Yeah. And he's a Puritan. He's a good guy. Yeah. So Adam, how did you like performing as a witch?
Super fun. I mean, I don't get cast in these roles very often. So it was kind of a nice, it was a great fun. Katie, like Katie had said, we had done Improv Olympic IO out here in LA. And so we had done this as a sketch with a sketch group that we were part of. And at the time, I was more put in out of necessity. We only had 2 female team members on that in that group. So when we did it initially, it was like over the top on stage and silly and everything. Getting to do it, once we filmed it, it was a much more like, I'm going to try to ground this as much as I can, so the silliness plays it out on its own. But it's super fun to be a part of a sisterhood. Not something I get to do very often, so it was really nice to get to experience that.
Nice. I know right now with the COVID situation, artists, performers, it's hard to get new work, to get into things. As Derek mentioned, earlier, everything's going to be quote unquote Zoom from now on. But I'm just curious how you guys as artists are moving forward or working during these times.
I feel like Tracy's always doing something, right? I mean,
well, one of the things that I do each year is I try to produce my own content with my husband. So we either do a TV pilot or a short film. And so we have a short film that's just finished editing that we shot right before COVID. And then I shoot a lot of my own videos, but that's just either with my husband filming or our friend filming. And it's just me. And so I know that they haven't been around anyone. I mean, I haven't been in a grocery store since March. So I'm one of the ones that has kept it very much the closed door inside. And then we're trying some Zoom things, seeing what we can do, recording and that sort of thing. And then of course, auditions are coming through now, or kind of more self-taping and that sort of thing. But, got to keep plugging along and changing things up with what's been handed to us. So, so try.
Absolutely. Anybody else have anything in the wheelhouse?
I've been shooting some commercial spots in a little short film with COVID precautions. Like the last one was with this new studio system, which is zones and day of testing as well as pre-testing. So it was different experience. And I'm also doing, you know, we did all casting all remotely, editing is remote, music and VFX are all going to be remote. So it's definitely it works. I miss it though. It's hard. Some of those things, they really makes a difference doing it distance instead of being able to be in person with someone and work it out. So I think that this is going to be around for a while though, and we're going to all have to adjust to this new reality.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree. I miss going to theaters and, you know, seeing actors perform on stage. That was one of my absolute favorite things. So I'm sure you guys can all understand that.
Yeah, performing live has been like, at first there was, I was getting a little fatigued right before COVID of like, I don't know if I need to do another 10 o'clock improv show this week. And now I'm like, I'm craving to get back on stage. Yeah, and the auditions are just now, they're starting to come through, and they're this experience. And there was always a little bit of self-tape right beforehand, but now it's you know, the only thing you can do, and it's just getting used to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I can't imagine. But
Yeah.
I think a lot of improvisers are starting Twitch channels, which is also a new thing where they're doing improv shows essentially, you know, like this, where Katie and Adam and I would perform together in different, you know, at Improv Olympics. So we're seeing a lot of our fellow improv friends performing on these Twitch channels or different things. So it's been a little wild, but I don't know when a theater would open again for anyone to see us on stage.
They say that the theaters were the first to close and they're going to be the last to open. So, you know.
There are some outdoor events. A lot of my stand-up friends are doing outdoor backyard things and trying that. So maybe improv will go that way and we'll have like a DJ sound system or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Dave Chappelle is doing his series, you know, although they're great.
Well, hopefully being featured in Etheria season 2 will garner you guys a bunch of attention. Like I said, this short was fantastic. It was hilarious. It was well acted. It was well written. It was very clever and thoroughly enjoyable. And I will share it with a bunch of my friends, especially you know, for the season.
Thank you so much.
It's been so good talking with you guys. I appreciate your time, and that's all I have for now. But once again, great job. I wish you all the best of luck. I know it's a tough time for you right now.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.